channel. My name is Brandie Chrisman, and if you've never seen me before, I am an intuitive medium and spiritual teacher located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And thank you for watching this, for taking the time out of your day to listen to me talk about life and spiritual things. So one of the questions that I get asked all the time that I thought I'd make a video about is, how did you know? How did I know that I had this ability to speak to the other side? And I will be very honest with you in the fact that I did not know as a tiny child that this was even a thing. I think I was probably like normal realm of intuitive, normal realm of being a sensitive child. So when I was 14, I had this friend that lost his sister, who was older, to an illness, and I was unable to make it to her funeral. I didn't know her very, very well. I did know her. We had met, we had had a few conversations, and I felt really guilty about not being able to make it to her funeral. And so that night, I went to bed and I had a dream that I was standing in the back of the church auditorium, and in front of the auditorium at the front was her casket with her picture on it and flowers, and it looked very pretty, and there was no one in the church. And I looked to my left and she was there, and she looked gorgeous. She had her hair that was like very red and beautiful, and she was wearing a white dress, and without opening her mouth, she said to me that she was okay, that it was all right, that I couldn't make it to the funeral, and that could I tell her family that she was okay and she was healthy and that she looked beautiful, and all of the things that I had experienced in that dream. And I woke up crying. It felt very real to me and very tangible, but I never said anything to them because I just, at that age, was like, I just had a really vivid dream and I need to kind of forget about it, and that was really a nice dream, but now let's move on, right? So fast forward my life to my senior year, in which our whole school kind of went into grieving when we lost a teacher by the name of Mr. Rogers, and he died what seemed like very quickly after being diagnosed with cancer. And I knew him not particularly well, but I knew him I think more on a like one-to-one level, because I was the editor of the newspaper and co-editor of the yearbook, and he shared a room with our editing room that had a door connecting the two, and so after school he would prop it open so that we wouldn't like die of no air conditioning and he'd let the air conditioner kind of air both rooms, and we talk about Elvis, and if you know anything about me, I am a huge ass Elvis fan. And so we kind of bonded over that, and then when he passed away, I just remember being very in tune to the amount of grief that was circulating in the halls and in the classrooms, and feeling lost for myself too. I had just remembered this just now, but I did an interview with another student with Mr. Rogers about his cancer for the newspaper. I mean, so there were these interactions that I had had before he passed, and it was about 2 weeks after his memorial service, which was massive, by the way. Like, God, I don't know how many people were there, but I just remember sitting very high up in the auditorium that was not the school auditorium. It was like a big church, and I was like really high up, and I just remember being like, man, he was loved. So anyways, I started dreaming about him about 2 weeks after his memorial service, and each dream was kind of the same as far as environment would go. We would be outside in nature by a tree usually, and he would be like, hey, Brandie, it's really good to see you, and we'd talk a little bit about what was going on in my life. And at the end of each dream, he would say, could you tell my wife and my daughter that I love them and I'm happy to be able to watch over them and that I'm healthy and I'm no longer in pain. And then I would wake up, and each dream became a little more like, oh, should I do that? And despite having like these run-ins over and over again with his wife that were completely random because I did not know her, despite like having these run-ins, I never said anything. And I wouldn't have had the vocabulary to do that anyways, and I'm glad that I didn't. I mean, that would sound really weird coming out of a complete stranger's mouth. Like, I've been dreaming about your husband who's passed away. And so I never did. And sometimes I go, man, I hope that she got that message. And I know that from what I know about the spirit world that she has. She's probably had her own dreams. But it wasn't until I was 19 years old. I was in college and I had just gotten married, and I lost a family friend that I hadn't seen in about 4 years. Tragically and suddenly passed away. It was very unexpected, and I remember getting that phone call, and I remember just like the tears. Like, I can almost just feel those tears coming up again just thinking about it. But the tears that just came after my mom said that Seth had died, and like the phone just hitting the bed, and I just crumpled into a ball. And it was devastating for me, and it was devastating, I think, for everyone that knew him, that it had happened. He was such a loving person, and just funny and carefree and sincere. He was a real person. And so 2 weeks after his memorial service, I started dreaming about him. And we did grow up together, and we went to the same church, and we were sitting in our youth group room in this dream, and we were just talking about everything and trying to catch up on all the time that we had missed from the years that we had lost contact with one another. And at the end of the dream, he said, hey, can you tell my mom that I love her and that I want my bracelet? And then he went on to describe a bracelet to me. And I woke up, and it was real. And I felt like I had just talked to Seth. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to call his mom. And so I picked up the phone, and I called his mom, and I told her everything, and she thanked me for the information, and we hung up, and I was like, she's going to think I am so crazy, and I shouldn't have done this. And she called me back like the next day, and she was like, I just wanted to let you know that I told Seth, Seth's dad. She didn't tell Seth. Whoa, that would be crazy. She wouldn't need me, would she? She was like, I just wanted to let you know that I told Scott, Seth's dad, about your dream and about the bracelet. And he walked away and went into the bedroom and pulled out the things that Seth was wearing the night that he died. And in it was that bracelet that Seth had described to me, and then I had then described to Seth's mom. And she said, I just want to thank you for that information, and I know that my boy is safe and that he's okay. And they ended up doing their own thing to memorialize that message, and it was really beautiful. But I remember that phone call from her being the moment in which I knew I was experiencing something that could help other people, and that I needed to understand more about it. I had spent from the age of 14 to 19 like pushing it away and not wanting to have anything to do with it. And that was really kind of the catalyst that I knew that I had this ability, even though I didn't know what it was or what the words were or how to use it or how to turn it off or turn it on or anything about it. So that's it. That's how I knew I was a medium. I hope that was insightful for you and helpful for you. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, you can hit the subscribe button. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. What else? I hope you know that the universe loves you, that spirit loves you, and that I love you. Have a great day.